go on here so I could view the chat. Okay, so I can see the chat there. All right. Peace, 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 peace to everyone this early evening on this, what is it, Christmas Eve tonight. We have a special guest, our brother Tshaka Sankofa, who has come to share his wisdom with us. And we're just going to be talking about what's going on. What is going on in our community? Seems to be so much going on. We can come from a couple of different angles here. Um, let's just start with our portrayal in the media lately. Yeah, let's dive into that because we have what are supposed to be role models in the form of celebrities and whatnot out there. You have your athletes and everybody's got something going on socially. So how do you think the climate, what is our reflection out there right now?
Well, first and foremost, as always, giving honor to the Creator and all of our beloved ancestors for
Yes.
setting this platform up for us to discuss and be brutally honest and truthful and give our divine perspectives of what we visualize in these days and times. When we talk about these celebrities, the great ancestor Malcolm X had always stated that we should never use our celebrities and comedians as leaders because they are court jesters, clowns, and entertainers. That they have in no form any level of leadership in terms of leading an oppressed people for over 4 centuries into liberation. They lack that ability. And a lot of times they use those platforms to elevate themselves, to promote themselves, to qualify themselves, to try to identify and to portray to be part of the struggle, in which is the opposite. And so when we talk about leadership, the most prominent leaders are primarily those that are unknown, those that don't have the major platforms, those that are not monetized, those that are truly and committed for change. And a lot of times, most of the times, those people are shadow banned, they're overshadowed, they are smeared, and they are forgotten about. But those are the ones who put in the most work, opposed to those who sit back behind these keyboards and dictate the certain agendas and what we should be doing as a people, but their activism is on zero. And so that type of propaganda, that type of illusional energy that floods social media has a major influence on those that are naive to our illustrious history, where we stand at as a people, and what we need to do in terms of gaining liberation, independence, Black emancipation, and Black liberation. So it's not, we're living in a time that it's not about what you say, it's about what you do. It's not about going along with the lie, the beautiful lies. It's about dispersing the ugly truths about what we're plagued with, homelessness, drug addiction, mass incarceration, infant mortality, child and sex trafficking, unemployment, being portrayed as monsters on on these national media waves, these national airwaves, are being conned and tricked into thinking every 4 years someone is going to come through and assist us into making change. But at the same time, we follow certain propagandas and agendas and are sympathetic to those who oppress us, which is called Stockholm Syndrome. And we have massive levels that are entrenched in our minds, hearts, and souls of Stockholm Syndrome. For example, when all of the plagues and ills that I just described, yet, our people go and fight another country and kill millions of other people and don't know why, in the defense of these colonizers, in the defense of this said government, which is not beneficial to us in any form or fashion. So, those are some of the basic things that, I myself try to deal with, because I'm at the level now by being on social media for nearly 20 years now. When the people that I encounter today, I didn't even know they existed. And so, these are the things that I touch on to expose those who are a detriment to our liberation, primarily and specifically those who portray to be quote unquote conscious, those who portray to be revolutionaries, those who portray to be insurrectors and liberators of our people, who are nothing but charlatans and uh, master deceptionists, and have persuaded our people and have lured our people into being in a state of delusion by pushing illusional dialogue to our people and giving them false hope. And so that's one of the major things that we need to address. We need to combat. We need to expose those. And I will be doing that I'll probably go back on live maybe tomorrow or Tuesday to expose those who portray to be so-called warriors for freedom and revolutionaries, and along with certain organizations that have deceived our people into thinking that there is some hope from those who don't have their best interests at heart, those who are in certain movements and organizations and certain podcasts and doing certain lives for just their personal benefit, their personal gain, their personal recognition. And so, our job as a street law soldiers, which we have branches all over the United States and abroad, is to expose those for the sake of just not exposing them just to embarrass them, but for the sake of those who are coming behind us. So it will prevent another generation of our people, our children, being misled, like, the majority of our people, as you can see, that are being misled day to day. That's, all talk, no substance, and no progress.
Absolutely. Okay, so you are a founder or a member of Street Law Soldiers, and
I'm
that's
the
a
founder. I'm the
mhm.
founder. I'm the general of the Street Law Soldiers,
What?
along with my brother, Chief of Staff Harris Abdul, who became an ancestor in 2017. We started in 2003 working in various group homes, halfway houses, treatment centers, and transitional housing and things of that nature, primarily dealing with youth, doing gang truces and youth programs, for providing them with certificates and clothing, shelter, and intense, uh, group sessions, which has been successful uh, to a point where it became a hindrance to the so-called criminal justice system and those that we were working under at that time. Because, I was personally told that I was teaching our youth too much. I was telling them they were black gods and who they really were and giving them, a rundown of their history and their ancestors. And I was told that that was too much, that I was supposed to just give them enough so they could go back out into the streets and catch another case and come back in the facility so everybody can keep getting a paycheck. That
Yes.
didn't sit right with me. So I left and we decided that the only way this was going to be done right is that we do it ourselves.
Right.
So we incorporated ourselves. I believe it was March the 29th of 2006. But mind you, we had been already in effect 2 years prior to that. And so we began to just form our own. And a lot of the youth were uh, leaving those group homes, coming to our weekly meetings that we open our homes up to them, allow them to stay the weekends, those who had deplorable living conditions, because I was doing home assessments and going to the homes of these youths and I saw the deterioration, I saw the deplorability, I saw the parental drug use and the parental prostitution, and a lot of the youths were being violated sexually, and which is the root of the rage, part of the rage of the Black youth today.
Yes.
And so, we continued, and I debated so many people. I went in city council meetings. I've debated so many different people that were for the destruction of the Black youth. So, with that said, we had a lot of heart wrenching moments, and we've had people come on board, and we've gotten rid of a lot of people because their interest and the energy that they were bringing wasn't conducive for the growth and development of the youth. So, and we're still doing that to this day. We will always eliminate those who we feel that are not in the best interest, not just for the youth, but for the movement, for the organization as well.
Right. They
And
could
so,
benefit some of the training coming in if you have a vetting process or whatever. But did you share the link with Gerald Moore? Because I have him, he wants to join here. But
yeah, that's our captain, Gerald Moore.
okay, so
He's
I'm
one
going
of our solid brothers.
okay, I'm going to add him in so he can come on in. But I want you to finish discussing. Go ahead with what you were talking about there.
Okay, and so with that, became a lot of hardships. And on a personal level, it had got so bad because the things that I talk about on my live shows, these are this is regurgitated information. This is like a repeats that I be doing in terms of the information, because a lot of my lives, because I've done over 4,000, close to 5,000 now live videos since 2005. And
Awesome.
some of the information is old information, and I understand that a lot of our people are just coming on board in terms of knowledge itself. So I always, do certain videos. I've done certain topics 20 and 30 times. And it doesn't bother me because I know that it plays a positive role on those who are just coming into knowledge. When I was in my research days, it wasn't a social media. This was before MySpace, and where I had to physically go down to the Library of Congress every day, go to the National Archives, go to various museums, go to the World Bank, uh, uh, go to right-wing think tanks, the Cato Institute, the Brookings Institute, where they discuss the 2030 agendas, and when I began to, convey this information to our people, they weren't receptive to it, and I'm not mad at them for that. And so that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, because a lot of times these people that you see on social media, they just read about 25 books 3 years ago, and
Mhm.
now are self-proclaimed scholars, you
Right.
know
They
but in order,
regurgitate heard.
yes, and then they want to charge an arm and a leg to come in and hear some information that
Right.
doesn't even belong to them. We've always done free lectures. We do free uh, um, forums,
Mhm.
monthly forums. I think if we don't have one coming up, I believe January the 20th, it will always be once a month, and where we select various people to come in, fly in, or whatever, and we have a open discussion. No matter what their religious or what their ideologies or their thought processes are, to share their views, because everybody has something to contribute to our liberation.
That's
And
wonderful.
so, yeah, and I, like I said, I went into a minor state of depression because I felt that I was just, solo, going against the grain so hard, and I couldn't actually, uh, see any results,
Mhm.
and I became gravely frustrated. But after the passing, siblings, and so many comrades, and associates and relatives, that I was
Yes.
given that ancestral energy to stand up and continue to fight. So we've been
That-
extremely effective since then. And once again, in order to even be a part of the street law soldiers, you have to go through an intense therapeutic counseling sessions,
mhm.
whether it's through conference calls, which all calls are confidential.
Mhm.
And because you cannot be effective externally until you are cleansed and effective internally, because we have a habit of that. We have a habit, and we use a lot of so-called quote unquote black consciousness to smother and cover up the demons and monsters that exist within us. And so, in order for you to be effective, you must, have pure transparency and honesty. We're not interested in uh, uh, a lot of personal things, but they have to be addressed, so we can address those things. By me being a licensed substance abuse counselor, and a certified life skills instructor,
Mhm.
I'm able to um, counsel people, and I counsel people 24/7.
Right.
But I can tell when someone is dishonest. I can tell when someone is an infiltrator, agent, a rat, a provocateur, an instigator. Because I've dealt with that, over the last 2 decades with individuals as such. And so, it's the process of elimination, and this is how we function, and we have to have balance with that. This is why it's good to have humor and laugh and still attend social events, because when someone is engulfed too much of just one particular thing, that's dangerous. So we encourage people to, you know, uh, um, be enjoyable, be happy, and be proud that you're standing toe to toe and nose to nose with some of the most vicious, ruthless devils,
Mm.
black and white, that have ever walked the planet, that you've been divinely chosen
That's right.
to be picked among the millions and millions of people to be chosen and saw fit to be able to be in a position to make change. And this is why we do intense therapy, because people can say that out their mouths, but they haven't been divinely selected. They only
Right.
been personally selected by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So
did that
the vetting
did that
process.
answer the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, you did. Just like I had mentioned, the vetting process. So you say it's a series of psychological trainings, which is absolutely where I was going, because we can not have people that need more compassion and love and working on their, I call it their shadow self. When they're working on that, it's, hard to put them in front of others to say, this is what you can do. But everyone has something that they can share, even in the midst of their journey. So how do you separate that?
Well, when you've been divinely selected, you already are given the journey. But part of the journey is self-cleansing. Is to be among a group of people and be transparent.
Right.
When you're not transparent, then you're hiding something, or you're ashamed of something, or you're trying to prevent people from seeing who you really are. And
Mm.
that is no good to the growth and development of our future generations.
Right.
Because sometimes one or two people can lay uh, uh, bad fertilizer down that will grow nasty, wicked crops. And so we do preventive measures. We're very, very proactive. We like to
Mm.
deal with people for who they are. We don't care about your drug use. We don't care about your homelessness, because we all have been a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hide certain things, or you get upset when certain things are exposed, then you are a hindrance to our growth and development. Because certain things, when you dealing with, you're assaulting women, you abuse the elderly, sexual predatory behaviors, certain things of that nature is forbidden in our circle. Now, other people may accept it. The church may accept it and forgive you for your sins, and you know, uh, uh, let you do whatever you do without being, play like you're unblemished. But we don't do that, because we have contact with a lot of children. We have contact with a lot of sisters. We have contact with a lot of elders.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are on a spiritual incline and have been around for a minute, you should know that those elders can sense, when they can smell that foul odor and that nasty energy
Mm-hmm.
off of certain people. And
Right.
so we try to be proactive and use preventive measures for the sake of our elders, our children, our babies, where if a street law soldier was to enter any type of environment as such, our elders, our babies, our children, our women will feel safe and comfortable, because they know that individual is solid. That individual doesn't have an issue with lust. That individual doesn't have a control issue. That individual doesn't, knock a woman upside the head, or that sister doesn't
Right.
knock a brother upside the head. Because a lot of sisters can be extremely abusive, as well as a lot of brothers.
For sure.
So we if the circle has to be small, I'd rather have a circle of 10,
Mhm.
than a triangle of 100.
That's right. That's right. Yes. Um, I would like to ask, because when you're a charitable, say we can classify you as a charitable organization type of thing, but you do need support because everything, nothing moves without the money. So do you have a cash app that if anyone would like to donate, or how do you receive donations?
Okay, to well, I don't call them donations. They either do nations because it's a donation. Just it's put into action. So it's a
Right.
donation and
Okay.
or love offering. Somebody might appreciate the work or appreciate the lives that I'm doing, and which all proceeds go towards feeding our people, housing our people, providing transportation to send them to treatment centers. I personally ride or carry them to these treatment centers by me having so many connections and plugs in the therapeutic communities, in the psychiatric communities, in the DMV that it's easy access for those who want it. But we've never received any grants. I've never asked for anything. I've never begged. I don't have. You never hear me on the live say hit no cash app or the like button and PayPal. I've never done all of that. I personally work just like everybody else out here, and
Mhm.
most of the brothers and sisters in our movement, if they don't have certain disabilities or whatever, they get up every morning like everybody else do, and we hide in plain sight, and we work regular jobs. Fortunately, I work for a gentleman just like a brother,
Mhm.
black-owned company, and I'm able to kind of do what I want, and
Mhm.
but we're self-supporting because nothing is free. If the government gives you a grant, they're going to count every penny, and you know, and then you'll be under investigation if you take $30 and put it in your gas tank. So I don't need that, and I'm not going to have anybody commandeer or puppetize this organization or this movement. It's not going to happen like that. So I would rather get up, at 4 in the morning and go out here like everybody else and hide in plain sight and do what is necessary to provide and support,
Absolutely.
the movement and the organization. So and collectively, the majority of our uh, brothers and sisters that are street law soldiers do make personal contributions. Like Brother Gerald Moore is in charge, and he's been running since the end of 2022. He's been in charge of the food distribution, uh, and so we get the food from Gerald, our captain, and we go out and distribute food. Sometimes I'll go
Nice.
solo because it's not about recognition. It's not about being on the news. It's about filling the stomachs up of our people because nobody wants to hear anything about Kemet and Black Gods and Harriet Tubman and Malcolm X. Nobody wants to hear that when their stomach is touching their back and they got a big hole in the front of their tennis shoes and they've been on a 2-week crack binge without a shower. Nobody wants to hear about Kemet, So, but once you can fill their stomachs up and you can somehow kind of acquire their attention, put some fresh tennis shoes on it, then they can see that it's hope. You can give them a glimpse of hope, and it will motivate them or encourage them to some level to want to change their condition or raise their vibration.
Absolutely. Brother Moore, would you like to introduce yourself, or if you want to unmute your mic? I don't know if you can hear us right now, but if you can, definitely chime in. Um, yeah, so that is great that you guys collect food and stuff like that. I definitely would like to get the information, because if you're doing a drive, I would like to advertise that on my site as well. and direct some things your way. Um, we all
Okay,
in this.
that's
Yes,
okay.
absolutely. Each one reach one, and this is a great opportunity. I had been looking for an opportunity to give back to our people directly, and so this is a great source. I'm glad that I ran into Brother Sankofa, and lo and behold, he is the founder of Street Law Soldiers. So like that was absolutely great. I really have a heart for the mission. I am a mother of three. Now they are productive adults. But in my oldest son's earlier years, he went through his rites of passage, like a lot of our sons, through these streets, and we almost lost him. And so we're blessed to have another chance. And um, we've all learned from that situation, and he especially has learned from that situation, and he definitely goes another route. Now, sorry to say, a lot of times these experiences have to happen for a lot of these young men to want to see something different, because like the music and like just the peer pressure and this and that just engulfs our young men. And you're nobody if you're not a gang member. If you're not chasing the bag, so to speak, all these little different things. And yes, we have to rescue our children because they kind of get sucked into the vacuum before they're 10 toes down. So I am really happy about your efforts and what you're doing, because our young men, especially now, the young ladies too, but we must admit that we are in a crisis with saving our young men. You know, just to capture.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So I commend you, brother. We need more brothers out there that are committed. And again, I commend you for your efforts. And I'll let you
I
go ahead,
appreciate that.
go ahead and
Yeah, I
continue.
appreciate that. I hope I didn't cut your wisdom, but I really appreciate that. At the same time, you have to, also thank the creator and ancestors for your platform
Absolutely.
to be able to open your doors up to different views and perspectives. So the masses of our people on social media can see some things and see the genuine love and interest and commitment that your platform has for the liberation of our people. And when you spoke of the music and uh, the gangs or whatever, we have a tendency to just look at the end results, of the system. And see, the street law soldiers, we're after gatekeepers and the global elitists. The common people that don't look like us, mean, they have no stake in the system. All these Aryans, Klansmen, and these white they have no stake in the system, and they're looked upon by their white counterparts in terms of white globalists and elitists. They look at them the same way they look at us, and so we're after those gatekeepers who prevent us, the gargoyles, the guardians of the gates, that prevent us from going after the wizard. And so when we talk about the music industry, we never hold we never hold the record company execs accountable. We never hold Jimmy Iovine, Ted Fields, Rick Rubin, Clive Davis, and so many others
Yes.
that pay and bankroll our youth that are living in deplorable situations, that are not firmly entrenched in terms of knowledge itself, that are primarily 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade dropouts that live in project housing, that live in subjugated conditions. And so when that type of money is bankrolled to them to get their families out of those conditions, in exchange, all they have to do is push death and destruction on people that look like them. This is where you get this demon time. This is where it stems from. But we don't hold them accountable. This is why when people say the white man, I always say which white man, which white group, which white organization. Because when you just say the white man, you're coming from an emotional standpoint. Let's deal with the facts. You do the research, and then you hold those accountable who are puppet masters that pull the strings on our children that we don't want to deal with. We want to look at the end results and say, oh, these children are bad, they're carjacking, they're doing this and that. Of course, when you have a generation of fatherless boys, you have a generation of touch girls. And so when they swinging on poles at strip clubs, and you have these gangs, which are nothing but a group of people with the same type of traumas that they have established a brotherhood because they share the exact same type of pains, and they become a family. And so that's what a gang is. But nobody talks about the real big gangs like the police department, the Navy, the Marines, the Army, the CIA, the FBI, the big gangs that do drive-bys and kill millions by way of bombs and so many other abnormal devices that they use to destroy the lives of millions of people. We don't discuss those things. So it's much more comfortable to condemn our own reflections. And so we go to, and I don't knock these young guys for wanting to, when they get tired of going in the kitchen every morning, they got roach eggs in the cereal and mice jumping out the utensil drawers, and their mother coming in from a crack binge. The house is pissed up. It's half the neighborhood is sleeping all on the couches and floors, and their little sisters have been touched. I don't blame them for taking the bag to remove their family from those conditions. However, most of them know the death and destruction that they've caused. And at some point, they should come to a conclusion and cut all ties off with those record execs and continue to, and make compensation and ask for forgiveness of the communities, just as the drug dealers, which we glorify, which cause. Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you.
Go ahead. You okay?
I just want to interject. The other day, I heard, because everybody was talking about Kanye West. Now, I'm just figuring out that he had entered into a lifetime contract. I said, what? They said, yeah, he's not the only one. That there are a lot of our brothers out there are being suckered into lifetime contracts with these people. That's the first time I had heard of it, but yeah, I wanted to see, if you knew anything about that. But yeah, lifetime contracts.
Yeah, most of what they call, you have independent labels, and then you have 360 deals. 360 deals, usually you're binded in that throughout the duration of your life, because a 360 deal is when everything that you do, any endorsements, any commercials, any TV appearances, any podcast where they are given any type of monetary rewards. The 360 deal means that the record execs get a large percentage of it. And see, the front money is when they give, most of them, when they sign, they give them $200,000. That's for the bling. That's for the rental Bentleys, the lease Bentleys, or the women, the drugs, make their dreams or make the illusion appear to be reality temporarily,
Mm.
to get their mother out of the hood, but they're never uh, um, getting out of that deal because they always have to produce because with that 200,000, it's about 30% interest rate on that 200,000. So if you don't sell over 1 million copies, you won't get nothing from selling 1 million records. Nothing. As a matter of fact, you'll still owe them. And you go up and you get these Grammy Awards at the Grammys and you perform at the BET Awards practically for free.
Mm.
And the wicked part about that is these record execs, knowing that they're paying them to push death, meaning that the lyrics are going to become a reality for them and an early demise. So they put multi-million-dollar insurance policies on them, but without them knowing it, without the family knowing.
Mm.
And so when they meet early demise, they cash in and they use the money from a deceased entertainer or rapper to use that as front money for the next one because they already lined up in line. And this is why you never see any record execs go to any of these young men's funerals. Never.
Right.
You never heard Clive Davis or Rick Rubin. None of them speak at one of these rappers' funerals.
Yeah, or give the family any kind of money,
They don't. They don't.
thing. And I thought that was kind of strange. Like after the third or fourth time it happened, I remember XX in Tacion when he passed away. Yeah, they did his family dirty too. So yeah, none of their families get anything. It's just crazy.
And so, knowing that happens, that creates more bloodshed in the streets. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the next thing that goes hand in hand with that is the blood in the streets. Now, a lot of these young brothers and sisters haven't been on earth long enough to do any damage, serious damage to their bodies and their organs.
Right.
So their organs go on the black market, especially a melanated young man's body that's in his late teens or early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
with the high sperm count and so much testosterone in that body. That sells for millions and millions of dollars. And
Mm-hmm.
then in exchange, the funeral homes, the black funeral homes, they've become billionaires now. The
Mm-hmm.
black churches, at one time you can always have your funeral at a church for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now they charge thousands of dollars to eulogize a body, whether it's being cremated or whether it's going to the cemetery. And
Wow.
so it's a big business. And they take our melanin from these youths, all this blood that's spilled in the street. They take our melanin, they do so much with it. They take our youth's hearts and, you know, uh, these old white people use it, these rich billionaires for heart transplants, liver transplants, kidney transplants,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
all types of blood plasma because O positive is a universal blood. You have O positive blood, it can be used on anybody. It can save anybody. That's the most uh, that's the most requested blood and plasma on the planet is O positive.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just as a network. And then a lot of times they get 2 and 3 for 1 deals. You know, um, 2 people might go to prison, and then you take the best years away from them. If you're 19 and you give them a life sentence or you give him 50 years, you don't have to worry about him reproducing
Right.
because the best years of his life are the highlight of his reproductive glands and his testosterone level and his sperm count gonna reach its peak while they're incarcerated. So when they come out when they're 40 and 50 years old, they're unable in most cases to reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then the recidivism rate that goes with that, the 9 times out of 10, if all these doors are closed, it's a 75 to 80% chance that they'll return back to prison within 36 months. And
Wow.
even when they're in prison, they're put in labor camps. Microsoft, Walmart, black prisoners make all of IKEA's furniture. One of the
Mm.
most expensive furniture stores on the planet. All of their furniture is made by black inmates.
Wow.
And Walmart, Procter and Gamble, Home Depot, Target, IBM, Microsoft,
Mm.
and so many other major corporations that they become multi-billion-dollar businesses based on prison labor.
Wow. Yes. So the prison, what is it? The streets to the prison pipeline? Well, because they were saying that most of the record company executives own most of these prisons now. So it's push, kill, killing, drugs, murder, sex, and all that stuff in the music. And the pipeline is right to the prison. So, yeah, as a community, we definitely have to put an end to that somehow.
And to add to that, the mental preparation to create the atmosphere and the mentality of black self-hatred and black murder is with fentanyl, lean, PCP, um, government chemically treated marijuana that's in the streets, um, mollies, perks, e-pills, shrooms. See, all that plays a role. And so when our children get so strung out and get so zapped out of their minds, and then with the music that they bumping in their cars, they're talking about, killing everybody in front of this house and doing this drive-by. This is the only way you can G up and all of this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they fall into that spell work. And then after about 6 or 7 months, once they are captured, um, when the drugs wear off and they wake up and realize that they're not never coming home for at least 30 or 40 years, then reality sets in. Then they are left in the hands of the sodomites. And I'm talking about older brothers that have been turned out in prison. Now, you have like 10% of the prison population that engage in that type of behavior. And that's another reason why any member that even has an interest in joining street law soldiers, if you have a history of that type of behavior, whether in prison or out, you are forbidden to come near us. And because that has damaged a lot of children, has damaged a lot of young girls, it has damaged a lot of these young brothers in prison that we don't know whether they really want to make a change. You don't give them a chance to change. You don't give them a chance for redemption. But, you sit there and violate them, knowing that they're green to the day-to-day activities in prison life. And you take advantage of that and you violate these young men. And so, that's a serious issue. That's a very serious issue. And we address that thoroughly. Because, once again, we just don't allow. That's forbidden. We need straight up men. We need straight up sisters. And we've had to deal with, get rid of a few sisters based on the fact that they weren't genuine. Their motives weren't correct.
Mm-hmm.
As well as so many brothers. And like I said, I have nothing against them. I wish them well in their endeavors, but you won't be a part of this. You know, because there has to be some organization, some group that we have exclusively that stand up, you know, and that can walk in righteousness and truth to save the future generations, because it's not just about us. It's not just about us. Most of us will be ancestors by the time a lot of this information will actually be internalized by future generations. You know, and we just have to hope and pray and ask the creator and the ancestors that their response, once this information has internalized the minds and souls and hearts of the future generations, that they will stand up and have a more relentless and more fearless approach in their fight for liberation and salvation, Black emancipation, and Black independence.
That's right. That's definitely what it's all about. Yes. When you're working with or vetting females that come in, what's the vetting process? Like, say, is it different for females than it is men?
It has to be, because, you know, sisters are they're more emotionally damaged. A lot of times they've been abused on various levels 100 times worse than men. You know, but it's you know, see, a lot of times, in a lot of cases, we try to eliminate the thought process of them putting all males in one bucket based on one or two situations that have been traumatizing to them. That you know, that's not what the world consists of. It's just that those were your personal experiences. Those were the wrong choices that you made that was based on low self-esteem, you know, your willingness to be accepted by anyone and anything. And those are the results that you got. But that's not the reality of things. And so we have to address that pain first. That pain first. And once you release that and purge that pain, you're able to see a little bit better. The fog will be lifted a little bit more, and then you begin to start seeing the beauty in Black men. You'll be able to, you'll have this high level of discernment where you're able to see who's right and who's wrong, who's good and who's not good for you. You know, and then you have to, you know, and a lot of sisters have to understand that they have to learn to sit with self. That's very, very important, because most of our sisters have always had a man. Most of our sisters have always been chased by a man. Most of our sisters have always chased a man, you know, but a lot of the sisters have never sat by themselves, you know, and dealt with the goddess that's in them and allow the ancestors and the creator to talk through them and give them divine instructions and provide discipline and praying and fasting and meditating and a period of spiritual relaxation, so they're able to see things more clearly, you know. And you know, and same with brothers. You have brothers that couch surf all their life. If they're not in prison, they're always living off a woman or living with a woman, you know, don't want to work, you know, using certain verbiage and, you know, minute intellectual babble to fascinate these sisters who have never are newly introduced to that type of dialogue, and they become fascinated. And then, you know, that gives a lot of these brothers places to crash at without them putting in the work that they need to do for themselves in terms of being independent. We have a lot of our brothers They never had their own apartments. They never had their own vehicles. They've never been independent. Their work history is looks like Swiss cheese. Um, a high level of irresponsibility, terrible credit report, excessive drug use, extreme violent behavior among those that look like you. And so it's a lot of trauma. And see, this is once again, this is what separates us from most of these movements and organizations, because people are solely tripping on membership and numbers opposed to quantity, and helping our brothers and sisters become good men and women. And once once you go through that process, because it's a never ending process, because I have counseling. I have to receive wise counsel and discipline and instructions. I will never denounce myself as a student. Never.
Absolutely.
Because you may know, to somebody you may know a lot, but to somebody you don't know nothing. So we're gonna always be students. And as long as you're open, receptive, don't take it personal in terms of being chastised and being disciplined, especially with the males. A lot of these males are not men, they're just males. And and especially during these times in social media, where as they use these platforms, and they sit on keyboard all day, they eat all 3 meals on their keyboards. They don't take baths or showers, and they post all these powerful affirmations up, but they're not living any of it. They're not living any of it. And so we're able, personally, I'm able to see through it all. I'm able to see through that, because in order to recognize a thief, at one time you had to be a thief. You had to know how to steal. So to be able to see dope fiend behavior, and I'm just talking about drugs, period. In order to see that type of behavior, you had to be that too at one time. And that's another thing that a lot of our people on social media, they don't want to admit their homeless and drug history, and their codependency lifestyle that a lot of them are still engaged in. And when you shame yourself because the creator gives you this type of trauma and pain, and when you're going through that trauma and pain, for those who have been through it, that people have a tendency to shun you and throw stones at you, and mental stones, and count you out. But see, that's the creator's way of molding you, of actually molding you, because those experiences and those traumas were sent directly to you, because you were fit to survive those traumas, to be able to overcome those traumas and be able to share those traumas with others and give them courage and allow them to open up, to let the people know that their situations that they think is so isolated, and no one may understand, that we all share those particular ills and traumas.
Right. True indeed. If there's anything else that you would like to talk about before we wrap up, I definitely want you to leave some contact information for anyone that would like to contact you. Yes, that would be good.
Okay. No, I believe if you don't have any more questions, it's cool with me if we wrap up. But my contact information doesn't change. It's area code 202-294-7831. I can be reached any time of the day or night.
Absolutely awesome. And
And
so, go ahead.
as far as a Cash App, we do have a Cash App. I don't have one, but we do have a Street Law Cash App, you
Okay.
know, and that's $ Sam Hooks 319.
SAMHOOKS
Yes, 319.
319. Okay, that's my sister's birthday, March 19th.
Oh yeah, yeah. My wife's birthday is March 19th.
Awesome, awesome. Um, okay, so I have that posted in the chat, and I'll also post it on the YouTube, and we also have it in the video for those that are going to watch this, because it's going to be posted on YouTube and Facebook, and I will be premiering it, also running it live throughout New Year's Eve, um, on purpose, because this type of information is basically what I want to gear this particular channel around. I have a couple of other channels, and you guys don't see me tonight because my camera's acting up, and so I have to have this on the screen, or I would have joined Brother Sankofa on the camera. But this channel, Tonya 23 Experience, my original motives was for this to be a social outlet for us to talk about how we can better ourselves as a people. So I will be reaching out and having some other conversations here. And Brother Sankofa, I would like to have you back whenever you get time, maybe a little bit after the new year gets in or whatever. We're going to come back to this conversation. And before we close, I'd just like to ask, since you've been founder of Street Law Soldiers, give us some of your success stories of people that have come through your list.
We've had various. Well, a success is someone who, you know, most of the times they're dealing with substance abuse issues, spousal abuse issues, molestation issues, and those who rise above that and are able to freely talk about that. That's a major success. But I've also had clients in those group homes. One, I promised him I would never mention his name. A lot of times y'all see him on various Comedy Central and things of that nature. So I will never break that promise in revealing who that individual is, as well as one of our DC council members who was a client, as well as, various, other people, but that's on another platform. But success to me is when you can get somebody that's living in a tent and you can see them grow from being in a tent, then going to a shelter, then going to a program, then going to independent living, then gaining rightful employment, and then seeing them and they call you and tell you that they want you, to be standing right beside them when they take their own apartment keys and open their doors up. That's success.
Absolutely. Yes. And so, like I said, I'm going to contact you going into the new year. And I definitely will continue to watch your lives and let people know your channel and where you do your lives.
Well, a lot of people, thousands of people know that I'm on Tshaka Sankofa live on Facebook. I was on YouTube, but I was kicked off of YouTube about 7 years ago, which is one of the greatest historical, honorable moments for me. And I wish they would send me a certificate saying that I was banned so I can hang that up in my living room.
Yes.
But yeah, Tshaka Sankofa live, mainly 2 or 3 times a week. approximately we start about between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. Throughout the week. I was going to do a live tonight, but I know that everybody's waiting on the white man to fly in the sled,
Mr.
to
Claus.
drop these gifts off. So I know that even those that claim to be, conscious, and the Kwanzaa'ites, and which is just a black,
Absolutely.
which is Christmas, just celebrated a few days later. But that's another subject. But you know, I probably will be back on Tuesday.
Okay.
After that, because Monday is Christ my ass, and
Yeah.
after the hangovers, and after the hangovers kick in and everything, then because I'm not mad at no one, and don't get me wrong, I'm not mad at anyone who celebrates that, because we all have been there, and this is what I tell people: don't, because you've acquired knowledge yourself, and you know what the play is. Don't condemn those that don't know the play. You know,
Absolutely.
and if anywhere, I don't care what it is, whether you call it a holiday or whatever, anywhere where there is black camaraderie and black love,
Mhm.
I always want to be a part of that, because you can always implement just your energy itself will
Right.
will will allow people to be inquisitive on who you really are, and that vibration that you
Right.
have. Even those that you may think that are not conscious, a lot of people know about energy. So,
Right.
um, but the physical participation in those particular events, I don't engage in, but I understand. I truly understand, and I hope that we can not only um understand this, but 2024, and like I've told people, it's going to be an extremely challenging year. Extremely
Absolutely.
challenging year.
I'd say so as well. Yeah, I definitely second that emotion for sure. And it's like a lot of people don't focus on the actual new year comes in March, you know, when the spring enters. And so, yeah, but that period through January going on through 2024, I agree, is going to be absolutely challenging for all of us. Yes.
Yes.
And so I
And
want to
I'm
thank
going to
you.
put your I'm definitely going to put your platform on blast. You
Thank
know,
you. Thank you. I
you
appreciate.
know.
I've actually been doing this since 2014, off and on, and I started with a regular podcast um, platform that didn't have video, and of course, we all end up on YouTube here seeking monetization and whatnot. But I too have achieved monetization and been kicked off. So this particular channel is not monetized. So I got a little trophy up there, a little couple of awards of being kicked off Facebook and YouTube for speaking my speech. But it's all good. You do your little jail time and you continue the movement. And you can always create another channel in another name. So they can't stop us either way. But I thank you for that exposure also. I'm just really trying to have people of substance on my channel.
Anytime, I'm always available. Well, when I'm available, I would never say no. It's just when it comes to um educating our people, and also promoting certain platforms,
Yes.
um that we need to do that. We need to do that. We need to have a non-hating approach, and wanting to see our brothers and our sisters that are truly genuine in the fight for liberation and salvation, to give them much exposure as possible. Put them on these platforms, because by you being a goddess, you have the ability to reach, a lot of these young women, young girls. you
Yes.
know, and you can attract that type of energy. And then, you know, anytime that, you know, you are searching for any type of guest, you know, I have an arsenal of brothers and sisters who will
All right.
gladly come on the platform, you know, that can really, you know, drop some jewels on your platform, on your show.
Yes, that's what we're talking about for 2024. I'm so excited. And Brother Sankofa, I will be contacting you off air, you know, to talk about that more. But I want to thank you for your time tonight. And as this goes out into the airwaves, we hope that it touches someone to bring them to their consciousness or a little bit closer than they was yesterday, you know, because every little bit helps. And I just want to say happy holidays to everyone. I personally haven't celebrated Christmas in over 10 years, but it's my mother's birthday and she's an ancestor. So I've turned it into her day. You know, she's our goddess now. And so, yeah, it's all about her on December 25th here. We actually know someone that was born on that day. I don't know about the rest of
Yeah,
y'all
the real,
celebrating. She wasn't born
the
on
real
that day.
Jesus. Yeah, she was the
She's a
real
real Pisces
Jesus.
child. That's right. That's right. So, peace, Brother Sankofa. I will be contacting you and thank you for your time. Peace and blessings to you and your family. And Mr. Moore, thank you for sitting in. Just your presence. Absolutely.
He
Thank you
probably
so
don't
much.
know the he probably don't couldn't operate his microphone, but you
That's
know,
fine. He was
he's
there
on,
in
you know.
spirit. No, he was there. So on that note, I'm going to say peace and I'll be contacting you, Brother Sankofa. Thank you and blessings to the street law soldiers.
Thank
Ashe.
you. Likewise. Ashe.
Yes. Peace.